I'm Josh Cleveland. One way to describe me is just as a person who's always been drawn to music, to its emotional power, its ability to express stuff, its joyfulness, and its ability to forge connection, like human connection, the thing we need. I didn't go to school for music or songwriting or anything, but looking back, it's always been with me. And then it was there when I finally figured out how to ask myself what I wanted to do, for me, and for the world. Forge unlikely connections, human connections through music. That's what I'm supposed to do.
We walk for miles without a care, till our hearts find open seas. And as we talk...
This cabaret, this show that I have put together, takes the text of its theme from an Ernest Hemingway quote. The theme is from Hemingway's memoir, actually, A Movable Feast. And he writes, of the writing enterprise, quote, so finally, I would write one true sentence, and then go on from there. He's really, like, in this passage, as I understand it, he's kind of psyching himself up to write. He's trying to, like, remind himself of times in the past when he has successfully written. In sort of invoking this kind of, very Hemingway-esque terse phrase, I hope to kind of explore at least two things. One is just the process of writing itself. The songwriting process for me, certainly, is primarily one of truth-seeking and truth-telling. Concomitant with that is like a sense of self-discovery, and how important and life-giving that process can be. Dovetailing with that idea, sort of this idea of writing and storytelling as truth-seeking, sort of putting it in the larger context of today, of our world now, in which it's really hard to tell what's true. So much digital disinformation, manipulation, in this age of deep fakes, it's I find it incredibly hard and incredibly problematic that we are losing a shared sense collectively of like a shared reality. Now more than ever, it's important to sort of hold on to a world in which facts matter, and interpretation matters, but also like everyone's story and truth matters. A world in which everyone's story can also be heard and like woven into this complex tapestry of truths that we're weaving together, and that I've always defined, the experience of being human. I don't think it's easy. Most things worth doing, I don't think are, but I think it's important. The cabaret itself, in exploring those two things, it's gonna be funny and warm and difficult at times, and maybe bracing at times, but I tend to gravitate over and above anything towards things that give joy. So I hope to inject the proceedings with plenty of that. If for no other reason, then life at its truest is pretty funny.
Just like lovers carve initials onto sun-kissed maple tree.
How to get into songwriting and theater? Well, the short answer is actually Washington, D.C. No, I mean, about 8 years ago, started going to see shows. One fateful winter, in 2018, I decided to audition for a community theater production of South Pacific. And pretty much ever since then, have been involved in a theatrical production one way or another. I started writing. At first, kind of just for me, just songs that were trying to sort of probe aspects of my experience and just, to understand things a little better. But pretty soon I started writing for other characters.
There's a path that's made for walking, lined with sun-kissed maple trees, whose whose leaves cast dappled shadows in a gentle autumn breeze.
How did I get involved with the Alliance for New Music Theater? Well, I had the chance to apply for and participate in the Composer Librettist Studio back in 2023, summer of 2023. And to this day, just one of the most transformative artistic experiences I've had, learning how to collaborate with different folks that you had just met, learning how to write fast, getting the chance to write for like in-house performers, and then to sort of learn also kind of how to do the give and take of a collaboration as well as feedback sessions. It was such a delight, and I'm so happy to be back.
There's a song I've been writing. It's a tune that's unconstrained, with a syncopated beat and a Gershwin-esque refrain.
My greatest influences as a writer, as a songwriter, are Sondheim, of course, Stephen Flaherty and Lynn Ahrens, Kander and Ebb, Alan Menken. I'm not ashamed to claim Alan Menken as an influence. Mark Shaman, Janine Tesori. You gotta love the Gershwins, Jerome Kern, Harold Arlen, one of my favorites. I wish I'd written pretty much everything Frank Lesser ever wrote. Duke Ellington, Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, Bill Evans, Brad Mehldau. I love the blues. Again, F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zadie Smith. The cities that I've called home. New Orleans, Cleveland, where I grew up, and then of course Washington D.C., New York City, which I now call home. Ghana, Kenya, India. Basically just life in all of its humorous, chaotic splendor. I'm going to talk about my process here a little bit. It can look different depending on the song, depending on what I'm writing for. I would say there's nothing magical about my process except for my belief that when I make space for it, summon the focus for it, that is when the magic happens. I think, yeah, every song I've ever written has just started as some notes scrawled with a pencil in a journal. By this point, I have quite a few of these journals lying around. If I'm writing lyrics, I often like to be walking around, or to be like at parks. And I've written a song in almost every major green space in Washington D.C. So I was for a while kind of used to doing both music and lyrics. The Platonic ideal, in my mind at least, is they kind of proceed more or less simultaneously. More often than not, when I have done sort of both, I have started usually with lyrics. Probably in my head alongside those lyrics is like it certainly suggests a melody usually. My process now can differ from that quite dramatically, especially if I'm writing in a collaborative team. Often these days I'm writing just music, and somebody else is writing lyrics. And what we start with usually is a conversation. People sleep on this, but it's the most important part. You gotta talk about everything about the song and what you want the song to be and what do you want it to do. Who's singing it? Who are they singing it to? What's the overall flow? What's the tone of the piece? Really important. Ideally, that you get that conversation to a point where you have a strong sense of the sort of musical and emotional tone of it, as well as sort of a lyrical hook, a thesis that you kind of want to structure the piece around. Then, I, as the composer, typically have gone to the piano. The music, it has to be the emotional truth of a song. An example of this is a song for my adaptation of Despicable Me. My lyricist collaborator and I wanted to write a song for the Three Orphans. So that was like our task, and we came up with the hook of Nothing You Can Do, which again is very despairing. That was the general gist. I came up with two different musical ideas. Here's one of them. So yeah, I didn't play that perfectly, but anyways, that was one idea. And then here's the other one. I guess you'll have to come to the show to find out which one we chose.